Hello, welcome to Secret Zone. Subscribe and turn on notifications for stories you won't forget. That night was supposed to be simple, joyful, and unforgettable for all the right reasons. The music was soft, but lively. Lights were warm, and laughter filled the room as I stood there holding my wife's hand, feeling a quiet pride that she was beside me. I remember squeezing her fingers gently, thinking how lucky I was, how safe our love felt in that moment. Then, without warning, she slowly pulled her hand away. At first, I thought she just wanted a drink or to greet someone she knew, but my eyes followed her across the room, and my heart began to pound in a way I had never felt before. She didn't stop near the table or the crowd. She walked straight toward my closest friend, the man I trusted like a brother. They stood close, closer than they should have. I watched as they smiled at each other, a smile that felt familiar, practiced, and painfully intimate. And then it happened. They leaned in, and their lips met, calmly, naturally, as if they had done it many times before. The room around me disappeared. The music faded. My chest felt tight, my breath shallow, and in that single second, everything I believed about my life shattered. I wasn't just watching my wife betray me. I was watching two people I trusted completely reveal a truth I was never meant to see. In that moment, I understood that some heartbreaks don't scream. They arrive silently and leave you broken inside. This story is not just about that kiss or that party. It's about the kind of love that makes you trust without fear, and the kind of betrayal that makes you question every memory afterward. I loved my wife deeply, with a devotion that was quiet but strong, built on faith, patience, and shared dreams. I trusted my friend without hesitation, welcoming him into my life, my home, and my happiest moments. I never imagined that one night, under bright lights and smiling faces, both of them would become strangers to me. What you're about to hear is the journey from deep romance to devastating truth, from blind trust to painful awakening. This is the story of how one moment can undo years of love, how silence can hurt louder than words, and how I was forced to choose between holding on to a broken marriage or saving what remained of myself. I always believed a love didn't need loud promises. With my wife Aylin, love lived in the quiet moments, the way she leaned her head on my shoulder when she was tired, the way she smiled before speaking, as if her thoughts were precious. I trusted her completely, not because she demanded it, but because everything about her felt honest. Our home felt warm when she was in it, like her presence alone gave the walls meaning. I planned my days around her comfort, my future around her happiness. I never questioned her loyalty. Not even for a second. My closest friend, Rayon, was part of that world too. He wasn't just a friend. He felt like family. We laughed together, shared meals, supported each other in silence when words weren't needed. I never felt the need to guard my marriage around him. Why would I? Trust, once given so freely, doesn't look for danger. I believed love and friendship could exist in the same space without crossing lines. Looking back now, I realize how blind peace can make a person. Everything felt balanced, secure, and unbreakable. I had no idea how fragile that belief truly was. The party was full of life-soft lights, gentle music, conversations overlapping like waves. I walked in with Aylin beside me, her hand resting in mine, her presence grounding me. We moved through the room together, greeting familiar faces, laughing easily. For a moment, I felt proud. Proud of us. Proud of the life I believed we were building. Then I noticed Rayan across the room. He waved, smiled, nothing unusual. Still, something shifted in the air, subtle but unsettling. As the evening continued, Aylin grew distant, not cold, just distracted. Her fingers loosened around mine. Then, without a word, she slipped her hand free. I watched her walk away, assuming nothing more than a casual moment apart. But she didn't stop near the crowd. She walked straight to Rayan. They stood close, far too close. I felt my chest tightened as their laughter sounded private, like I wasn't meant to hear it. And then they kissed. Not hurried, not shocked. Calm. Familiar. The room spun. My legs felt weak. I stood frozen, watching the truth unfold without mercy. In that instant, love turned into disbelief, and trust collapsed without a sound. I don't remember how long I stood there. My body was present, but my mind felt detached, as if I were watching someone else's life fall apart. When I finally moved, my steps felt heavy, forced. Aylin saw me then. Her expression changed, not with panic, but with resignation. Rayan looked away, guilt-ridden, clearly on his face. Yet his silence hurt more than words ever could. We spoke later, away from the noise, but nothing they said made sense. Explanations sounded rehearsed. Apologies felt empty. I wasn't angry at first, I was hollow. The betrayal wasn't just physical. It erased every memory I had trusted. Every smile, every shared moment replayed in my mind with a new, painful meaning. At home, silence became unbearable. We existed in the same space, but lived in separate worlds. Sleep wouldn't come. Peace wouldn't return. I realized that something inside me had changed forever, and no apology could restore it. Days passed, heavy and slow. I searched myself for forgiveness, for a reason to stay, for a way to rebuild what was broken. But trust, once shattered, doesn't return the same. Love without trust becomes fear. I looked at Aylin and no longer felt safe. I looked at myself and saw someone slowly disappearing. Staying would mean accepting pain as normal. Leaving meant choosing dignity over denial. The decision wasn't loud or dramatic. It came quietly, like acceptance. I understood that loving someone doesn't mean losing yourself for them. Walking away hurt more than I imagined, but staying would have destroyed me completely. I let go not because love was gone, but because respect had to come first. Some betrayals don't just end relationships, they awaken you. And that night taught me the hardest truth of all. Sometimes the bravest act of love is knowing when to leave. What happened that night didn't just end a marriage, it changed the way I understood trust, love, and myself. For a long time, I blamed myself, wondering if I had missed signs or failed in some way. But betrayal is a choice, and no amount of love can protect you from someone else's decision to break it. Walking away was the hardest thing I've ever done, but it was also the moment I chose my own worth. Love should never require you to accept humiliation or silence your pain just to keep someone close. If there is one lesson my story holds, it's this. Trust is precious, and once it's broken by the very people you believed in, you must have the courage to protect your heart. Sometimes, endings are not failures. They are the beginning of self-respect, healing, and a life rebuilt on truth.